Greetings, creatures and humans alike. I am MagiQDog, and tonight, I will be honest, I am not feeling that well. I don't know what's going on, but I feel like my head's burning up and stuff. Kind of think I'm starting to get a fever, so I went on ahead and took 2 Benadryls. So, we're gonna try to get through this creature of the week kind of fast. That way, I can go on ahead and also read the One Piece chapter. So, let's go ahead and get started with this, shall we? And the creature we're going to be talking about tonight on this Creature of the Week stream will be... Scribble, 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 scribble. Scribble, got it. Scribble, scribble, scribble. The Horned Serpents. Which, this one's going to be quite an interesting talk. But without further ado, let's go on ahead and get started, shall we? The Horned Serpents are a class of horned serpentine-like beings told in different Native American myths and legends. Oh yeah, I forgot. Horned Serpent. Okay. Appearance. Horned serpents are told to be giant serpentine creatures. Their sizes can vary from being as big as a tree log to being hundreds of feet long. They would appear like large scaly snakes, with some having dragon-like features. But the main trait they have is having either one or more horns growing on from their heads, which gives them their name. Sometimes they may also have antlers instead of horns, depending on what kind. There are some that will have a dazzling, sparkling diamond or jewel embedded on their foreheads, or crystals in some cases, which can be a source of their magical power. But mainly put, they are gigantic serpents with horns. Roles in mythology. Horned serpents are told in many native myths and legends as powerful mystical beings that are associated with water, mainly freshwater areas like rivers and lakes. These giant serpents live deep within the rivers, lakes, and springs, often popping out to roam about or to go eat. These beings aren't seen as part of the natural world like some kind of large animal, but are believed as supernatural spirits or beings that represents and governs the waters, storms, weathers, or even having connections to the underworld. Thus, they can be seen as forces of nature that can be both beneficial and destructive. Also, horned serpents can be fickle when it comes to morality. In some cultures, they can be spiritual guides and wise teachers who can use their powers to bestow wisdom and medicine to shamans. While other stories, they are told as dangerous creatures that could kill or eat you in one gulp, or was adversaries to native heroes that they must overcome. Horned serpents are also considered bitter enemies to the Thunderbirds. Tribes like Cree and Kota have told of how Thunderbirds and horned serpents battle against each other. The reason for these, as they represent dueling cosmic forces, with the horned serpents representing water, flooding, and even the underworld, like the underwater panthers in other myths. While Thunderbirds are considered masters of the skies and heavens, and often drive back horned serpents to keep them from causing floods and destructions. Some stories also told of their diets as well, like the Imoogi people, which I do apologize for any mispronunciations and stuff. Y'all pretty much know the drill at this point. Anyways, these people tell of the horned serpents eating sumac plants and having control over game animals to eat. Other stories tell of them eating humans and large animals. Basically, the horned serpents have interesting different roles depending on the tribes. Similar serpents. Horned serpents are one of the more unique kind of creatures of native mythology, alongside Thunderbirds, underwater panthers, and Wendigos. After all, no other native creatures are large serpentines with horns or antlers. However, stories of serpentine beings that are associated with waters and weather are told in other myths and legends. And here's a few to name off. Boy. The main one that I can think of is the Asian dragons, like Chinese dragons, Korean dragons, and Japanese dragons. They are powerful serpentine dragons that are associated with water and storms, and are often worshipped for crops and fortune. And like horned serpents, they can be seen as powerful and almighty beings, with some dragons even being considered gods. Next are the Hawaiian Samoa. They are shape-shifting water spirits and dragons who are guardians of their homes, with many appearing as serpentine and lizards, though many also appears as geckos too. Next are the Imoogi. These gigantic Korean serpents are said to be benevolent giant snakes, who each one wishes to transform into a Korean dragon through different methods. Then there is the dragon like Oillipheist of Irish myth. They are lake and river sea serpents who are known to be man-eaters time to time. The Tsamtas, well, I am going to be butchering this one big time. Tsamtas, I'm going to say that. The Tsamtas are giant flying serpents told in Paraguay, are known to cause dry seasons and are known to attack and eat thunderbirds too. For more visual serpents, the Mayan vision serpents are spiritual serpents that give rulers and priests visions and act as a connecting bridge to the physical and spirit world. There's also the Shahapet of Armenian, who are nature guardian serpent spirits. And of course, there's also the serpentine dragons, like the Greek man-eating pythons, the Australian rain-controlling and very colorful rainbow serpent, the French Vouivres, with fire on their backs and having a jewel on their forehead that grants them powers, and the European Lindworm, who live in forests and may have legs or even wings. From sea serpents to amphitheres and more, there are many serpentine beings who are told as spirits, man-eaters, dragons, and more who share the trace with horned serpents. Like I said, I do apologize for this. I am a itty bitty sick. Truth be told, I've been getting sick nowadays. What is wrong with me? I used to not be able to get sick left and right. Anyways, where was we? Oh, yeah, powers. Like their nemesis, the Thunderbirds, horned serpents are considered powerful entities, with some even being revered as godly beings. But what kind of powers do you expect out of a horned serpent? Well, the first is the fact of having the powers of a, serpent. With their serpentine appearance, I say they will be long enough, be long yet powerful bodies that can squeeze a tree in two. This is like that of a snake, including dermal fission, and a nasty bite with deadly venom in some. Not to mention the fact that they are gigantic in size, so having a giant physical build too. They are also said to be mostly invulnerable to most attacks, making their physical powers all more frightening. But that's not the only power, as beings of water and weather, they will have control over watering sources which can range from lakes to rivers or even ponds. And they can manipulate the weather as they conjure up storms. Also, with them being spirits, they can have great spiritual power and can have even death or underworld-based powers, since some are associated with the underworld. Other supernatural powers include shapeshifting, hypnosis, invisibility, wisdom, taming of wild animals, poisonous breath, or even bestowing medicine to humans. Excuse me? That's not even mentioning those who are named who have greater powers as well, like Uktena of Cherokee myth, with the power of visions, insights, and prophecy. These abilities and powers makes horned serpents a true awe-inspiring yet dangerous beings. Weaknesses. But don't think you are powerless to these giant serpents, for they too have weaknesses just like any other creature and spirits in this case. For one, Thunderbirds are not only their fierce rivals, but are also one of their major weaknesses as well, as they are capable of hunting and killing the serpents. Lightning bolts can also be viewed as a weakness due to being related to the Thunderbirds. Another weakness is said to be a hidden seventh spot. In the case of a few serpents, like the Unhcegila, it is said to have a spot where its heart and life source is located, and hitting this spot will cause great damage or even kill the serpents. There is also said to be a medicine arrow that is capable of harming horned serpents, like the tie snake. There's even tales of their own poisonous breath that could come back and harm them, so make sure that you keep a fan on you at all times. But seriously, depending on what tribes have their horned serpents, there are tales and warnings of how to deal with one. Dragons or spirits? Now, I'm sure some of y'all might be wondering, what is a horned serpent exactly? Yes, I have used the term of calling them spirits, but they also seem to have dragon relations as well, seeing how they are huge serpents with dragon-like features. Would they even be considered dragons to begin with, based on both definition and native stories? Well, the best way to answer this is to first see what dragons and spirits are in general. Dragons is a term to describe any mythical and legendary reptilian creatures of myth and legends. All dragons seem to share common traits that keep them separate from other reptilian mythical creatures, which includes having the ability to fly, whether they have wings or being wingless, although some can't fly. Anyways, being scaly and having horns, having a serpentine or nearly serpentine body, and can breathe either fire, poison, or an eastern few be associated with water. Now, knowing what dragons are, it seems that the horned serpents will fit into this category, seeing how they fit the description and having poisonous breath. As such, one can say that they are indeed a kind of dragon. However, horned serpents aren't just told as mere dragons, and in fact are not often said to be dragons. In native myth and legends, they are told as supernatural spirits, with some being referred as almighty godlike beings. Now, to define what a spirit is a term used to describe any supernatural spiritual beings and entities who are non-corporeal, that is between the divine and living beings like humans. Because of this broad definition, many creatures are considered spirits, and as such can fit into multiple categories, not just one or the other. That's why you have some dragons who can also be spirits, which in this case, the horned serpent can be viewed as both a kind of dragon while also a spirit. Of course, some horned serpents are also seen as deities and guardian spirits as well. Well, not guardian spirits, guardian beings as well. So they actually fit into a bunch of molds in native myths. Protectors and destroyers. As I mentioned beforehand, horned serpents are seen as dragon-like spirits. As spirits, they fit into the role of nature as they are beings of water and storms. And just like how water and storms can be both beneficial and harmful to us, well, not us, to you humans, that is, so can the horned serpents. Horned serpents in different native tribes seem to have different roles and relations with humans. Some are seen as guardians and protectors of their land and help keep the waterways safe. Some are seen as powerful beings who are referred as gods and are sometimes prayed to for rains and safe journey near waterways. Other people see them as a source of power and may come to the horned serpent to seek their power for within their crystals. If approved, the horned serpent may allow them to share its power from its jewel or even give them medicine. But horned serpents are also seen as dangerous creatures, with some being known to cause flooding, making poisonous breath, and even eat humans time to time. Some like I just pronounced this earlier. Uktena, there we go. Some like Uktena are known to lure in people and confuse them to bring them closer so they can be ambushed and eat them whole. As such, there are often stories of native heroes who fought and defeated horned serpents who are too dangerous to be left alone. Of these include, and I know I am going to butcher this name big time, Aganunitsi, or Nitsi, oh my goodness, Aganunitsi, who defeated Uktena in Cherokee myths, or how the Thunderbirds killed the Unhcegila and Sulks. As we've seen, horned serpents' morality are flickered like that of humans, and so are the relationships between the two. In fact, some horned serpents might be considered troublesome to people. In the Iroquois myth, a horned serpent named Djodi-kwado is a master shape-shifting serpent who was known for taking a human male form to this. You're gonna have to give me a second. Bleh. Bleh. Bleh, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Anyways, this horned serpent is a master shapeshifter who is known for taking a human male form to seduce and bring back human women to his underwater home. He was said to be a useful serpent, although many of his helps aren't helpful at all. As such, he is seen as more of a troublemaker than helpful being. The point that I'm making is that horned serpents can be guardians, keepers, destruction incarnates, man-eaters, and even troublesome lovers as well. Famous horned serpents. With so many native tribes that have their own accounts of horned serpents, you can expect there to be some well-known serpents. And you are right. There are many famous or infamous horned serpents who are named and told in their myths and legends. I already shared a few, but I'll be telling the stories of these almighty named serpents. The first is the Djodo Kwado of Iroquois myths. As I just stated a bit ago, he is a master shapeshifter who lives within the deeps of his underwater lair. He was known as a seducer to human women, and despite offering a helping hand, his helping hands are less than helpful to people. There was a story of the hero, Hiko. Hiko? I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. Hiko. Heko. There you go. Anyways, there was a story of him attacking and might have actually killed the doji, probably because of him annoying him. Anyways, next is Sisui of the Nuax and Kawak Waka Wak. He is a monstrous horned serpent with 2 heads on each end and is connected to a giant monstrous human head in the center. He is said to be the pet of the warrior goddess Qamaits. His presence means that she'll be arriving, which is a very, very bad sign if you know her. Up next is the Awanyu of Tiwa myths. Awanyu is not only a water guardian, but he is also a god. He is also the protector of the Pueblo people and often brings forth storms and rains. Again, mispronunciations. I do apologize for that. Anyways, the fourth serpent is actually an unnamed one from Ojibwe. I know I'm mispronouncing this wrong. But anyways, however, this horned serpent is quite infamous in the story. It was a gigantic serpent who was so big his mouth was a mile wide. He once tried to swallow all the water of the world, but the hero Gluscop fought against the horned serpent. He defeated him and returned all the waters back to the world. Do apologize again. Next is Maneto of the Fox and other tribes. It was considered a deadly horned serpent who lived in rivers and lakes and would attack and eat any man foolish enough near the water. His horns and scales were like armor that protected him from most foes. It was said that only the Thunderbirds who strike fear to this serpent. Sint-Holo of the Djodo and Chickasaw is both considered a dangerous serpent that could drag people to their deaths and as a powerful spirit guide that could bestow spiritual gifts to fasting people. And finally, and probably the most infamous serpent of all, is the Uktena of Cherokee myths. This serpent was said to be from a man who committed a great sin and transformed into a large and terrifying horned serpent. He would trick people, using his jewel on his head to lure in men to him and devour him. He was also seen as a destructive force of nature that was sent to punish others for misdeed. It was said that the hero, and I am going to butcher this name again, Aganunitsi, was able to slay it, though what version had different methods of ending the serpent. And also, there's also other tales of the serpent that's still kind of out there and stuff. Just depends on the stories from the Cherokee tribe to Cherokee tribe. And there's even still the fact that Uktena was described as being multiple serpents. So the story could evolve of the original one, and then the others came forth through like some kind of matings or even supernatural means. Who knows? And this is also true for other horned serpents as them being species, like the tie snakes, Misi-Ginebig, and so on. But that's pretty much it for the famous ones. And moving on to popularity. Horned serpents were widespread upon America within many native tribes, which each having their own kinds or legendary individuals with their own stories as they told around. And their stories continue to spread up to modern times as they transcended from paintings and stories to movies, books, games, and more. With movies, you have the sci-fi 2024 Uktena, the horned monstrosity that is based on the Cherokee myth, where they took this giant horned serpent as a kaiju-like monster. Horned serpents are also references as house in the Harry Potter movies. Well, truth be told, I didn't even know that and stuff, and I've watched the Harry Potter movies myself. Anyways, with TV series, Mishipeshu is a non-recent horned serpent in the Grimm. Now, I unfortunately couldn't find any horned serpents in cartoons or even in anime and manga, but if y'all happen to find any, please let me know in the comments section. For games, the tabletop role-playing game Rift got both Uktena as a horned serpent and the Thunderbirds as characters, And even another role-playing game, Werewolf the Apocalypse, also got Uktena as a tribal totem. Huh, Uktena sure is popular. Anyways, for books, pretty much just native mythology books and world mythology books, like Tales from the American Indian by Samuel Denhartog. I am so sorry if I butchered that name. Pretty much these books featured them. I couldn't really find any books that were like dramas or like casual reads that talks about them. But if y'all happen to find them, please let me know. Anyways, where was it at? Oh yeah, there are even analogs that feature these serpents, like how George Washington, aka the Liberty Lurker, is a horned serpent, an antagonist in the Monument Mythos, an analog web horror and political theater that is, well, on the web. And to kind of wrap this all up, the horned serpents are told as almighty forces of nature. These spiritual beings have caused both awe and dread to mortal men, often being seen as either guardians and rise beings or as dangerous man-eaters. From their underwater homes, they are considered godly beings that rival even the Thunderbirds, who are their bitter enemies. So pay heed when you are around the lakes around Cherokee Land, or near rivers of the Iroquois' home, for you may never know if you are being watched by a large serpent just waiting under the water. And with that, that concludes the horned serpent. So what do you think about these giant snakes? Would you like to find one and see about getting some special medicine? Do you think they're as dangerous man-eaters as you think they are? Would you like to take their horns and mount them up on the wall? Let me know in the comment section whenever I load this up on YouTube. And with that, that concludes our creature of the week. Now, our next creature of the week that we will be talking about is... Ooh! Looks like we'll be going to some of the islands in Asia to learn about a giant bat-like creature with the face of an ape. So if y'all know what I'm talking about, I hope y'all are excited for that. And with that, that pretty much concludes everything here. Now, I do gotta say, what the world? Why? Oh, okay. Whoops. There we go. That is so much better. It's all supernatural, baby. That's why those words are able to appear. Oh my goodness. Anyways, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. I wish I could have done this yesterday and stuff. Unfortunately, we couldn't do that because work is starting to get to the point where we're getting ready for Christmas time and all that stuff. So I may be working way more than what I normally would. So if I do come in late to the point that I can't stream at night, I do apologize for that. However, just because that happens doesn't mean that streamings are not going to be a no-go. It just depends on what time I come in and how early of a shift I got on the next day. But I guarantee you that I still plan on doing a bunch of streams and stuff. And hopefully we get McKenya in here as well. She could have streamed with me last night, but I came in so late and she had to go to bed and stuff. So unfortunately, yesterday was a bust. That is why I'm making it up now, as we're doing this. And if you guys were to give me about like 15 minutes or so, we'll be getting into the new One Piece chapter. But for now, we better go ahead and close this out. So it's all that out of the way. Thank you guys for coming on this fantastic Creature of the Week stream. I hope y'all had as much fun as I did, as we got to learn about the Horned Serpent and their horny ways. I could have said that better. But anyways, if you wish to see more of these, check me out on my Twitch page, check me out on Twitter, check me out on my main YouTube channel, and check me out on my Game and React channel, and leave a like and subscribe for that as well. And with that, I bid the show adieu. So see you guys. So long. Bye bye. Okay, bye.